Step 4 of the Eggelton presenting method is your language becomes your leverage. I actually was sitting in this exact spot when I said that one day, and I thought to myself, oh my God, that's really smart. If you think about speakers, the Joe Dispenzas, the Mel Robbins, the Anthony Robbins, great speakers, not only do they have a unique perspective, which actually comes from the same thing, or the same step 4, step 3, but they have their own language. They have language that is associated just with them. When you think of their language, you automatically think of that speaker. They don't sound like somebody else. They are very unique. And to be that world class and to be this redefine world class, you need to not only speak and deliver in this new, more nuanced way, you also have to have your own language. See, most speakers are regurgitating information on screen and on stage. And of course, what happens when you're doing that is you are just playing in that saturated level of mediocrity. And no one wants to play in there. And that is certainly not what I am passing on, or it's not why I'm passing on my wisdom. I'm passing on my wisdom, my 28 years of obsession with this craft, to bring you to a place that places you in peerlessness, where it is just you playing at the vanguard of you. For those who don't understand what vanguard is at the forefront of you. I was going to get vanguard tattooed on my body just recently, but I realized I could just use post-it notes as effectively. I know. I should have thought about that earlier. Your language becomes your leverage. The language is associated with you. But what I love about this language the most is these words and these sentences. They have come from step 3, head to heart, brain. If this language has come, if this language was born of your heart, brain, it is yours. It was always yours. It was always yours. When it comes from the heart brain, this language has a different frequency to it. It has a different weight to it. It feels different. You know it's yours. It has more of a poetic feel to it. Essentially, it's as though your essence is attached to these words. And I love that. I love that. It is completely unique to you. And the more that we speak from the heart brain and we discover these words and sentences and ideas, the more our vocabulary as a whole begins to fill with these words and sentences and ideas. And over time, we end up with this vocabulary full of language that is unique to you, automatically separating you from the rest of the crowd. We are not here to play in the mainstream, my friends. We are here to play in a place of peerlessness, to create a whole paradigm for yourself. Sit on that for a second. You see, we live in an information era where it is so easy to tap into multiple different streams of learning, of education, from the YouTube to the Googles to Facebook groups like this. You can Google anything and get information, and most people are taking that information and pass it on. But to play at the top level, to play in the elite level, to play at the vanguard of you, the frequency of the information that you've taken and regurgitated as your own doesn't cut it. If you are to play in your own space, to create your own paradigm, to be a true external manifestation of your internal world, just being very dramatic here, if you are to play where what you are doing, your business, what you are creating, what you are saying is an external manifestation of your inner world, of your true inner world, removing the ego, removing the conditioning, what you've been told works. You are creating what works for you. The essence of you, I don't know what that means, but I'm pointing here, I think on the camera, to my own, to here. The essence of you has a purity, and that purity is not contained by laws or wants or needs, laws, currencies, governments. It doesn't understand this. It only understands what is the true essence of who you are. When we filter, when everything comes through our heart brain, remember this is always going to be activated because it's got to remember what you just said. When it comes through here, when you are given information and language from your heart brain, which is step 3 of the Eggelton presenting method, you begin creating language that becomes your own leverage. It has a potency all of its own. This is why when you watch most speakers, there's a sense of, I've heard it all before, or a sense of, yes, they're really good at what they're doing here on stage, but there's still something not engaging. The more that comes through the heart brain, the more that you are given sentences and words that are your own. How we make them our leverage is what we then do with them once we get them. So some sentences, for example, I'm just going to give you an example. I remember I was on stage a couple of years ago and I said, your imperfections are the window of which you let your audience in. Now, when I said that, it came through my heart brain. It was poetic. It was a piece that I knew intrinsically and trusted that my audience would remember more than anything else I said that day. And fair enough it was when I asked at the end. Now, I didn't need to do anything with that. It made sense. Your imperfections are the window of which you let your audience in. Sometimes, for example, though, when I said time and space the first time in a live, I didn't know what to do with it. So my job was to trust that if it had come from my heart brain, step 3, then step 4, my language becomes my leverage, is I had to investigate and build leverage around those 3 words, time and space. I had to build it because I didn't understand what time and space meant to presenting, so I had to investigate. I had to do the work to create leverage from it. It is now the most potent of my steps by far. You see, by trusting it, it has become now my leverage and a large part of what I teach. The space in between the words is as potent as the words themselves. I hang my hat on that sentence. That has become synonymous, I think that's the right word, with who I am. My new website's reflecting this. Time and space, what I teach around step 4, step 2, time and space. It's such a vast and deep step, and that came from my heart brain, and I had to create leverage from it by doing the work to investigate why that was given to me. When you see these amazing speakers that just are a step above everybody else, they have their own language. They're not ripping anybody off. They're not copying. They're not watching YouTube and taking somebody else's sentences or ideas. They are completely living in their own truth. And this is what I encourage you to do in this group. And anyone who's following me or the people that I am working with, it is not my job to give you your own language. It's something I can help with and aid. But my job is to help you extract your own language, then make sense of it and turn it into your own leverage. And then when you get on stage and camera and you have this language of your own, there's a sense of this bone deep confidence of trust. That this is yours and only yours. It was always yours. You sit in this unique space separated from everybody else, living this business of integrity, this language of integrity. Step 4. Your language becomes your leverage. It comes after you've found the language from step 3, head to heart, brain. And the only way you can get into the heart brain is from step 2, taking the time and the space between the words. And the only way you can play in the time and the space between the words is if you are authentic. And authenticity comes from step 1, no change of state. If there is something in this video of interest, if you liked it, give it a like. And if there's something that stood out for you, that you can integrate yourself or use right now, just leave me a comment. One, it's great for the algorithms, but I also like to see what people take away from this stuff. All right, before I dilute my message, I am going to leave you here.